Hello, this is Gradye Parsons. I am Stated Clerk of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church USA. And this is the second of a series of podcasts we're doing, sharing with you ideas about the church and ideas of how we can be church together. This week I'm continuing where I began last week, which is talking about elders, since it is elder picking time in the life of the church. Again, I'm going to look to the Book of Order and section G304A, which I'm sure all of you already have memorized. But let me read the second sentence in that section. Together with the pastor, elders should encourage the people in worship and the service of God, equip and renew them for their tasks within the church and for their mission in the world, visit and comfort and care for the people with special attention to the poor, the sick, the lonely, and those who are oppressed. Well, there's two sections in here that I really want to emphasize, and the first is that elders are to encourage people in worship. The very first thing, I think the kind of minimal thing is that elders ought to go to worship. I think it's a good thing if you're an elder in your church, you ought to be seen as one of the regular people there every Sunday in your pew, or even moving around if you're really a risk taker, and being part of the worship. But part of that is being an encouragement in worship. That is, you go there with a spirit of anticipation that something good is going to happen, that the worship has been well planned, and that you're part of that, and you're excited to be there. There's nothing more discouraging than going to worship, sitting with someone who's just sitting there like a lump, resenting being there and just making the time go away. A few weeks ago, my wife and I went to a concert, a Crosby, Stills and Nash concert. It's one of those concerts these days where you can get a discount if you show your AARP card. It was a great concert. The last three songs, everybody was on their feet, standing and clapping and moving to the music, except for this young man in front of me. He was standing there not moving a thing. And eventually, it just kind of became a general downer that everybody was kind of being excited about this event, but he wasn't. He was sort of sending off this entire sense of being in the wrong place at the wrong time and not being happy about it. Elders don't need to be like that. They need to be in worship, giving a sense of excitement, a sense of encouragement, a sense that it means something to them to be there and to be part of this worshipful experience. So I want to encourage elders to be part of worship, but to be there and to be supportive of worship by encouraging other people there. The second part of this text talks about the pastoral care aspects of the ministries of elders, or what I really call the ministry of awareness. Even though we think we hire ministers to do the visiting and do all that kind of stuff, really it's the responsibility and the privilege of the whole church to care for each other. That's how we create intentional and deep communities. The other part of this that's really important is that it deals with our own challenge in the Presbyterian Church for members that we lose over the years. Our membership losses basically fall in three categories. Roughly 20% of our membership loss is people who have died and gone on to meet their reward. And we celebrate their lives, and we sorry we don't have them with us anymore. Another 20% are people who join other churches, so they become Episcopalians or Lutherans or whatever. But the vast majority of people that come off our rolls every year are people that are written off as people that no longer just don't stop showing up at our church. They're people that used to be there every Sunday, and then they're there every other Sunday, then they're there once a month, and pretty soon they're not there at all, and then we're scratching our heads a few weeks later saying, where are the Jones? I think one of the important ministries of elders is to be attentive to their community, to be attentive to who's in worship, especially if you're in a large church, but even in a small church, to notice who's there, who's not there. Do they need ministry? Or they need supportive? Do they need to be encouraged in their lives? Are there ways the community can be of help to them, to keep them as part of our worshiping community, to encourage them to continue to be part of the life of our church, and therefore for us to continue to do ministry with them. So the elders need to go to worship. They need to be encouraging people to worship, and they also need to be attentive to those people that are in worship so that they can be mindful of who's coming and who's not coming and help encourage them in that way. The other part of this text is where it talks about taking care of people in your church that need to be taken care of. Most Presbyterian churches occupy a particular niche in our social fabric. Most of our churches are middle class. But as we know, especially in this economic times, people are struggling. And part of the role of the elders is to kind of be sensitive to that and to help people to feel free to be able to share those struggles so we can be in support for them. In your church, I'm guaranteeing in your church there are people that need help that probably are afraid to ask for it or embarrassed to ask for it. And we need to continue to encourage ourselves as officers in the church to be open to people so that they can be helped by us and supported by us through difficult times. So again, the role of an elder is much more than sitting in a room, in a session room, deciding leaky roofs or budgets or all that kind of stuff. It's a whole ministry of your whole life as you live and work in your church, in your congregation, and be a witness for Jesus Christ where you are. If you're looking for more resources about how to be trained to be an elder, on the Presbyterian Publishing Corporation's website, The Presbyterian Leader, you can find resources for how to train to be an elder. In fact, it is their #1 download. So I encourage you to look for that resource and share that with your session and continue your development as one of the important ministries of the church. Thank you.